10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
He's back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion.
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Signing day around Oregon athletics and the country today for a number of different sports. Full breakdown on GoDucks.com for the likes of softball, volleyball, acrobatics and tumbling, and some others to tell you about as the national letters of intent continue to file in. Also, college football playoff rankings revealed last night, and we've got a few good things to tell you about. Georgia sitting at number 1, Alabama number 2, and then it's the Ducks at number 3, Oregon number 3 in the college football playoff rankings here this week with Ohio State. Of course, the Ducks won that head-to-head against Ohio State earlier this year. They're sitting at number 4. Cincinnati is 5. Michigan is 6. Michigan State is 7. And then an undefeated Oklahoma team sits at number 9. Or number 8, excuse me. Notre Dame is number 9 and Oklahoma State at number 10. We'll see what happens. Just go 1-0. Keep winning. Looks good for the Ducks. We're going to hear from Mario Cristobal in just a moment. Also, some weekly awards for season ticket holders who renew their tickets. Yeah, that's right. If you are a season ticket holder, check your Duck mail in your email inbox because there's actually, with different renewal deadlines coming up throughout the next 6 weeks or so, those of you who do renew ahead of certain dates, you're going to be eligible to win prizes, which is awesome, including a parking pass for the season at Autzen, a suite for a game at PK Park, club tickets to a couple different games, and maybe the most fun thing away from sports, how about a private movie screening for you and family and friends in Autzen Stadium? All those prizes are up for grabs. More details are in your email inbox. Check the Duck mail talking about renewals, and it's awesome, too. Payment plans. That's right. We're adding payment plans. You can do that for your season ticket holders, and thank you for your support of Oregon athletics. We've got men's basketball, women's basketball picking up wins last night. Rob Mosley's going to join us in a little while. But let's hear from Mario Cristobal. A lot of injury updates today as Coach Cristobal previews the matchup with Washington State. This from just about 15 minutes ago as we recorded it after practice. Here's Coach Cristobal.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here today. Wrapping up again. Just a really good week of practice. Really competitive, really physical. More guys stepping up, making plays. All those developmental scrimmages on Friday are really paying off. Just more and more guys are getting playing time and working in the rotations, which is necessary at this time of year, especially as you're trying to balance your roster and looking at who's going to redshirt and use those 4 games and who you're going to hold back on, who you're going to go forward on. So all in all, just a really good week of practice. Questions, please.
Do you have conversations with players that are maybe on the edge there about where their standing is in terms of redshirt, or is that
Always with them and their families. Yes, sir.
How hard is it to kind of juggle that these days with some of the injuries that are popping up? Or there may be some decisions that you thought were concrete that's maybe going to be harder to redshirt some guys these days?
Well, I mean, nowadays in college football, I don't know what the percentages are of guys actually fulfilling the entire, 5-year allotted, eligibility time. Not to mention guys that were here last year getting that extra one as well. So that'd be a 6-year. So, and you never know, football is really unpredictable. I mean, you never know when you can be injured or whatnot. You certainly don't wish that upon anybody. So I've always been a big fan of when you can play, because you just don't know what the next day is going to bring. So our guys have been excellent in terms of being unselfish and playing and understanding roles. And there's not a single role on this team that is not important. Everybody has an important role. I think they understand that. They've bought into it. And the guys have done everything they've been asked.
Is there anyone in particular in that developmental scrimmage the last couple of weeks that you've been impressed with? Maybe he's not going to play on Saturday, but he's trending in that direction, or guys that are?
Well, it's been a good amount. I mean, the secondary, Avante and Jalen Davies and Barkins, they really stand out. Those are really good football players. They've been in the rotation. We don't skip a beat while they're in there. So that's been really impressive. Mikel Afayase is ready to go. He's really looked impressive. Got a great burst, great first step. Plays a good pad level, good hands. Guys like Ope have been just right there on the cusp. Marcus Harper has been great. I mean, has taken the next step, and you can see it. When someone starts playing with twitch, physicality, when they start playing fast, that means that the opposite's happening in their brain. The game is slowing down for them. All right, they're playing faster. So it's a pretty good list of guys. So we're pretty pleased with the way that's going.
How are Justin Flo and Sean Dollars progressing, and what's their chances they'll be available again this year?
Well, I think Sean is going to be available at some point this year. Could be at the end, could be in the postseason. Justin's going to be more spring.
Any chance Bennett makes availability as well, or is he full?
There's a chance. There's a chance. Yep. Those are reminders of how significant the type of injuries that we've had, the caliber of player that has been lost, and at the same time the caliber of next man up mindset our team has had to be able to forge forward.
LeDuc also.
LeDuc is really close. LeDuc is already practicing with us, so we think he's maybe a week out. He would be, if you had to listen for this week, he'd be questionable. If you had to listen for next week, you'd say he's a go.
Coach, I don't believe we saw Keon against Washington. Just wanted to ask about his availability, how he's doing.
Yeah, he was a little bit banged up last week. We thought we could get to the game and use him, or I would say he could come play for us, not use him. And he's in a much better state this week. He's really played well. He has played through, some nicks and some bumps or whatnot, and has been a great player for us this year. So credit to him and his toughness. He looks like he's back on track. He's ready to go this week.
And just staying in the interior, obviously going against some really experienced guys like Lucas at Washington State. What are you seeing from guys like Brandon Dorlus and Christian Williams as far as their growth and development this season?
Well, those guys have been excellent. They've been productive. Their off-season training habits, their eating habits, nutrition-wise, film study habits have paid off in a big way because we've gotten some really good interior line play. We have. And this week is very, very different. I mean, you're talking about massive splits, right? 3 and 4 foot splits, tackle trap, tackle dart, guard trap, inside, outside zone, draw schemes, screens, drop back play action. I mean, there's some challenges with the way that the distribution of course, the passing game, what they do at wide receiver, but also how they use the running backs, how difficult they are to tackle, the space they create. The splits themselves, it's different. That's a very different fit and a very different feel. So those guys have been really good all year. We're going to need them to be their very best on Saturday.
One of the best opposing tackles you'll go up against, and Lucas and KT and him had a good exchange last year. They got the ball out quick a lot last year to try and avoid KT. What are your thoughts on that just individual matchup that will draw a lot of attention, not just from inside the game, but around the game?
Well, I think, again, they have great players, not only at tackle, but their interior offensive line is good. Their defensive line is as disruptive as you'll find really in college football. I think they're 5th in the country in forcing turnovers. And everybody on the defense is doing it. They're punching out balls at the linebacker position, at DB, up front. Their movements, their pressures are really, they're challenging, and they're very fast, explosive players, a lot of experience. At linebacker, they have a former quarterback and a guy that's been around for, 5 years plus, who is as good of a tackler and as instinctive as anybody we've played against all year. So we fully recognize that this is a challenge and an opportunity at every level on both offense and defense.
How do you think KT has handled the individual attention that comes with being who he is, Mario? But I'm talking about more in-game, where at UCLA, when there's 3 GMs there and two men who could be deciding a very lucrative future for him, and that it comes each week, and this could be another week like that.
Well, I think he's handled it well. I mean, he's done really well. I think that when you're blessed and with that type of talent, and then you also work with a mindset to match that kind of talent, knowing that every single week you're going to be tested, and that your future is going to demand even more of you. You're going to be tested even at higher levels and on bigger stages and whatnot. I think he's handled it really well, and I think he's learning and growing from it.
With this team being so young, like you said a couple times, how have they handled the pressure each week that gets bigger and bigger? The games get bigger and bigger as you get into November. Johnny and Jalen yesterday talked a lot about how you've preached the 1-0 process, and I'm just curious your thoughts on the younger guys, because it can be pretty natural to kind of get caught up in the excitement of what you guys are going through. How have they kind of handled that?
Well, I think we accelerate these youthful years on some guys by the way we practice, our regimen, our structure, and then the way that we present the data, the way we develop guys, and the way we prepare our mind, the way we attack the mindset of what we do. I mean, every single game, and the entire country's been in the playoffs since week 1. That hasn't changed, and there's no reason to change it now. What works for us is that we're able to focus on that thing right here, like right here, right now. Do it right and do it right now. That's the only thing that matters. Anything, all that other noise, man, just can throw you off, can really distract you. So I think our guys have bought into it, and our guys have seen the benefits of doing it the right way, full throttle, and allowing stuff to get in there and disallowing ourselves from playing at our best. So we're improving at it, and we still need tons more improvement at it. So want to know, man.
Does it help the reference, like the 2019 run where the ASU game and just you were in position there? Does that kind of add extra backing to that of, hey, we've gone through this before? And
I think past experience always helps. Not a ton of guys on this team that were on that team, but certainly guys that can relay that message. Guys like Tony Washington that were around back in the Arizona loss, right? And then bouncing back, and not just bouncing back because they were upset, and not just winning or going 1-0 because they were upset, but because they decided to hold themselves accountable at a different level, at a higher level, and not really worrying about anything else and focusing on noise or any of that nonsense. It was just all about doing your job to the best of your ability and making sure the guy next to you does as well. So we're keeping it that simple.
I think we talked Monday about wanting to see your coverage units, maybe clean some things up. How do you feel like you guys have addressed that this week?
I thought we had some improvement the past couple of days, and it's been stressed, it's been coached, but we got to coach it better. We got to coach it better, and then you have to have a willingness to go down there and throw your body around. I mean, it's November, right? Everything hurts, right? I mean, everything does, and you got to be willing to play with a certain level of physicality on those teams, especially if the ball is not getting kicked in the end zone and getting a touchback. So I think we've achieved a better level, and we're looking for more improvements. So let's go find out on Saturday about our coverage teams.
How much further along are the various parts of the secondary, but particularly corner, where go back to the Ohio State game and it's Jamal and DJ playing their first game of the season, and they were still pretty young guys, and Quez and Dante played the week before, but they were in one of their first game experiences, and now you're going up against a passing offense that is, I'm not going to say stylistically or schematically, but just passes a lot like Ohio State does. Sure. How much further along are those guys in their abilities?
Well, I think the combination of them being comfortable with the scheme, technique-wise improving, getting the experience, the front seven playing better, us getting pressure on the quarterback, I think all those things together collectively have led to more confidence and better play. But we have progressed. We're definitely farther along, especially if you look at the body of work as compared to the body of work over the last 3 to 4 weeks. There's a significant difference. So that's all we're focused on, getting better. We just have to get better. That's the bottom line. November, you have to keep getting better. You have to keep working at things, and you just got to cut everything else out. We really have no interest in anything else.
Looking at the safeties, you guys are obviously looking for a timetable for Steve, but wanted to ask about kind of what you saw from Jordan Happel and Jamal and that Washington game, and how much it helps to have an experienced guy like Jordan to turn to.
Jordan is, he'll probably get at me like, he's a stud, man. Jordan is a guy that the amount of pride that guy takes in understanding what everybody is doing allows him to play with such a sense of confidence and instill confidence in everybody else around him. And that's what, he's a great example of how a football player should study and learn the game. He really is. And he's worked really hard physically to put himself in a position where all his entire skill set has improved. So a guy who's, last year when he played was a difference maker. This past week he got in there and was a difference maker, and he's just going to keep making himself and the entire team and the defense better.
Going back to injuries, is there a chance Drew Mathis gets back this year?
I don't know. Something that we were looking into yesterday, and we'll see. we'll see.
With Jordan sliding over to replace Steve, what's the depth like behind Jamal? With Jordan sliding over to replace Steve, what's the depth behind Jamal look like at nickel, and where are some of the players standing? I think Dante was on the 2 deep for the first time.
We're excited about Dante at nickel now. I mean, Dante, we have flexibility there. There's no hesitation or reservation. I mean, he's repped it. Scoop has repped it. I mean, Brian Addison has repped it. And the way we play field and boundary, there's a lot of overlap, a lot of the things that we do. And then we mentioned the young corners before, who they've seen. Let's just say we're ready.
I think that the Ducks feel really good about the secondary. That's Mario Cristobal from After Practice today. Talk about Dante Thornton playing a little bit of that nickel spot. Yeah, they have versatility in the secondary. It's been really cool to see. We're going to talk with Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com, coming up in a moment. Ron Tucker asking a good question about those of you season ticket holders who are interested in winning prizes if you renew. My understanding is that, your name stays in the pot for each prize. So, if you don't win that first prize, you stay in there for the next few weeks, which is pretty darn cool. Pretty cool. Good question, though, Ronald. Thanks for letting me clarify, because I probably should have said that. Ducks and Cougs coming up, 7:30 kick on ESPN. 5:30 pregame show for us on the Oregon Sports Network. Men's basketball with a big near 20-point win last night. Women's basketball with a dominating performance. We're going to talk about all that. Rob Moseley will join us in a little bit. We're going to hear from Dana Altman, Kelly Graves here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Exit Strategy, no matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Exit Strategy, no matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. He's Rob Moseley, the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com. We just got done with a Quack Minute. If you missed it, you can see it because we just posted it on the Oregon football social media channels. Talking about practice today.
Talking about practice.
What'd you see at practice today?
Oh, man, saw a lot. Just saw a team that's, again, we talked about it, I think, on yesterday's Quack Minute, but just really striking this balance between kind of focused intensity. We talked for today's Quack Minute about kickoff drills. Kickoff coverage and punt coverage is one area where the Ducks really want to clean some things up after last week, and just the intensity of some of the collisions on that drill really stood out. But then, still having fun, a lot of juice. Guys, still seem to be enjoying themselves despite it being the dog days.
Did you have juice this morning?
You're
juiced up?
Yeah. I mean,
ready for a padded practice.
Yesterday was a really long day.
Yeah, sure.
As you know as well as anyone. So, it was.
You were at the arena probably later than I was.
Yeah. I left the arena exactly 12 hours after I arrived for football practice yesterday.
Yeah, that's about right. But you know what, though?
The point being, bouncing back today was like, all right, that was a long day. Whew. But yeah,
heavily caffeinated.
Yes, definitely.
Was there a Diet Mountain Dew in the fridge for you?
There was. Yes, thank you.
Was it the last one?
It was.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Hey,
make a note.
Our friends at Bigfoot Beverages.
They'll come through for us.
We gotta come through for Rob Mosley because, the only reason that he's on the show is because of the Diet Mountain Dew.
That's true.
Yeah.
Don't do.
Are you Mountain Dew Zero Sugar guy? Have you tried it yet?
Haven't tried it yet.
Dude, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Wait,
but
can I talk about that?
Baja Blast Zero Sugar though, Rob.
Yeah,
good. That's where it's at. He's Rob Mosley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. Let's talk about football. I mean, Washington State. I loved it. Rob, earlier this week, Coach said that Washington State has played Oregon really tight.
Oh yeah.
Maybe has been one of the biggest rivals for the Ducks, just with the way the results of the games have been over the last few years. Cougars aren't afraid to be the giant slayer. This is going to be a tough one.
No, and they're in just such a different place where they were a few weeks ago after all they've been through, and until this week you were happy for them that they had kind of got through that and were enjoyed a little success. Now it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly.
You're on alert because of that. You're not happy about it. So, again, the 1-0 mentality thing, I'm sure for some people, it's like, all right, week after week, but that's what it's got to be, And so, if you can't get focused for these guys, then something's wrong with you because, they've had a lot of success against this program in recent years. And they do different things. Mario Cristobal talked today in the video, just heard about some of the things they do with their offensive line. And, they have a lot of skill. Their quarterback is just really good. And it's going to be a test.
I think their defense is legit. Top 10, top 5 in the country in terms of takeaways and turnover margin. They've done a nice job. And, I was talking with Matt Chazanow actually yesterday, or this morning, I should say, and then tomorrow we're going to chat with him for Duck Insider. He's the voice of the Cougs, and he was saying, like, man, it's almost like a joke. Like, you kind of go like, oh, man, this would be a great time for the Cougs to get an interception or force a turnover, and then what do you know, they do it. Like, they've been that kind of defense. So
that's funny. That's ironic because I have this working theory that anytime you think to yourself, we could really use a turnover, you're in a lot of trouble. Like,
yes, that's
true. You've just admitted to yourself, and believe me, I've been there. Like, like if we could really use a turnover here because, we need to change the momentum. You've just sort of voiced out loud that things aren't going great.
Yeah,
you're sort of desperate for a Hail Mary here,
right.
And but so to hear that somebody can just speak it into existence, that's impressive.
Well, yeah, he was saying like it almost became that sort of like joke. Like they would kind of go like, God, this would be a great chance. And then what do you know? And, but hey, the Ducks have had teams that have been like that where
a guy like Javon Holland or Eric Dargan in the past,
Avery Patterson.
Yeah, it's just ball hawks, It's just some guys just have a knack for it. And Javon, we saw it in the NFL this past week.
Yeah.
He got one. Just, some guys just have an ability to read the play, sense what's coming, be explosive enough to get there. We know there's guys like that on this team. Obviously, Bennett Williams was a great example, and we miss him right now. But Verone McKinley has a little right place, right time to him. Absolutely.
Sure does. So I think that turnovers, I bring all this up because I think turnovers, like a lot of games, this is going to be a key in this game. You got to take care of the ball. And if you're the Duck defense, maybe put a little pressure on guys like Delora and Borghi in their backfield.
No doubt. Yeah. And, if you got a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau, you feel okay about the potential of being able to harass an opposing quarterback. So no better time for him to play up to his potential as he's been doing all year.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see, we saw last week, teams are trying to avoid him, trying to get away from him. And so Tim DeRuyter talked Monday about how, he's moving him around because teams are scheming for him. So you try to play the chess match, but as he joked, he don't want to get fired. So he's just gonna straight up rush Kayvon a fair amount of times too, because that makes a lot of sense as well.
Yeah.
So
that's good coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. Just let the big dog eat from time to time. You can try to do some different thing. Line him up in different places, drop him into coverage sometimes. And we saw how much he affected the ball that Happel picked off last week. When you're quarterback and you look to the guy you want to throw to, and Kayvon Thibodeau's underneath him, you're going to try to put a little more air under it with all that length. And a little too much air. Happel's over the top, and he picks it off.
Speaking of Jordan Happel, I loved what Coach said today. Those of you who just heard that on the show, if you missed it, we had it on the show just a little while ago. So if you tune in on demand or if you listen on the podcast, get it there because, Coach said, like, Jordan Happel's a great example of a guy who studies football and how you can really make yourself better by studying football. Well, when he said that, it was awesome because I talked with Jordan in the locker room up in Seattle, and the first thing he said, I was like, hey, just how big was that interception? First thing he says is, well, I don't know if you could see from where you were standing, but Kayvon Thibodeau's the reason that I got that interception. Because like he broke it all down, and he was on the field. He hasn't even watched film yet at this point. And Jordan Happel's breaking it down. Those of you who heard it on the post-game radio show, like, that's what Jordan Happel is. That's pretty sweet.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's a guy who's not, like, athletically, probably not like a Bennett Williams or some other guys. But, you know, if you're smart enough and you study enough, you can get yourself in the right position and you can make plays. You know, we remember the play made against UCLA last year, and kind of ironically, I was just talking about how when you think you need a turnover, you might be in trouble. that was a situation at UW. I don't remember actually thinking that in that moment, but just how big was that in terms of the momentum of that game, and making sure that Oregon was able to not get into any bigger of a hole. I don't remember exactly what the score was, but was it 9-3 still then? I don't remember.
Yeah. Yes, because after that, the touchdown pass to Devin Williams.
There you go. So if you get into a bigger hole, who knows what happens? And if you feel like you have to throw the ball more than you want, that's not a weather conditions where you want to have to do that. So just a critical moment in that game, and he was ready for it.
Good stuff. 7:30 kickoff. Rob Moseley, of course, will be there, and then we've got some basketball between now and then, Rob, and some volleyball as well. A couple quick thoughts at doubleheader at Matthew Knight Arena. Ducks got a couple wins. We're going to hear from Dane Altman and Kelly Graves coming up in a moment to recap the season opening victories. Just give us your cliff notes. What do you think for men's and women's basketball?
Well, I thought the men, just the depth that they have was really impressive, and the amount of shooters they have. I mean, if you don't feel like, if a Peyton Pritchard's off or if Joe Young's off, you don't feel like you're in trouble because there's 2-3 other guys that can really shoot the rock. I mean, the number of shooters they have, and a couple of those young big guys are just getting their feet wet. Frank Kepnang played some okay minutes, and Folly Dante's not ready yet. So there's this other element to this team that could be a real force, not too far down the line that isn't really there yet. So what really stuck out about the opener was just the number of shooters, the depth of shooters, and just how tough that's going to be to defend.
Jacob Young's got a little Joe Young in him, doesn't
he? Oh, he looks just like him. It's crazy. It kind of reminded me, like if Frank was in there, it kind of reminded me of some of the women's teams built around Ruthie Hebert in the post. You have one, the hammer, Kelly Graves, what I'd call her, and then these 4 shooters. I mean, pick your poison defensively. Right. That's really, really rough. The women's team, just the job Maddie Shear did, with India Rogers and Pow Pow both out, the job Maddie Shear did, she turned it over a couple times, but man, she did so many good things offensively and defensively. She was just kind of known as a defensive stopper last year, but there's so much to her offensive game we're seeing now too, and just there's all these other parts in terms we know how the skill and size of Sedona Prince and Niara Sabli and Philly Che looks like another big force in the post, and there's a lot of athleticism on the wings, is there someone to facilitate for all that? And with India and Pow Pow out, there's the potential for that to be a big problem, and Maddie Shear just made sure it wasn't. I just kudos to her. Her game from last year to this year is, I'm sure she always had it in her, but she's worked her tail off too, and that really jumped out to me.
Shot 6 of 9 from the floor, and she still had a positive assist to turnover ratio. It was 5-4.
Yeah.
So, hey, when you're filling in at point guard, haven't had to do that a whole lot.
She had to do it. I think she only played like 22 minutes, which Kelly Graves said he liked because they're going to need her until they get some of that depth back. But still, when she was on the floor, there was a lot of pressure on her to be the ball handler, and
no doubt.
She really handled that with aplomb.
More detail on that coming up. Hear from the head coaches, and we're going to let Rob get back to work.
Yeah.
Thanks
volleyball too, though.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
I'm psyched.
Appreciate it. I'm psyched too. Volleyball, ho-hum, they just swept their last weekend, and now they're back at home.
Huge weekend against LA schools.
Yeah, boy. I mean, talk about a team that went through some adversity. Had some injuries, had to adjust the lineup, had to adjust their rotations, have some players playing all the way through the rotation on the back row, and man, they have really risen to the occasion, which is a testament to that team and the way they stepped up.
1-0 mentality, but I'm pretty fired up for Sunday's volleyball match.
Sunday is a good one. That's a top 20 matchup at Matthew Knight Arena. Have you gotten your you don't need them, but has anybody else gotten their Washington State weekend ticket packages? They start at $69. You get 5 events in 3 days, Rob.
Nice.
Pretty good deal.
Nice.
Starts with volleyball against USC at 4 o'clock, and then basketball against SMU at 8 o'clock on Friday.
Pretty much everyone I know works here, So they're good for tickets.
That's legit. But everybody tuning in, Rob.
Everybody else.
Yeah. Thank you. And
Well, you asked me if I knew anyone
I
who
know,
had.
I
Yeah.
know, I did. Bad way to get to it. Any case, yeah, a lot of good stuff this weekend. Rob, thanks for time, buddy.
Absolutely.
We're gonna get time out. When we come back, let's talk a little more in depth about men's and women's basketball, their season opening wins, and then we'll come back and preview a little more football here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. On the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
These are the sounds of a dinner. A dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio, and today's show brought to you by our friends at Hoodoo. Dig into deep savings. Get your season pass now, hoodoo.com. Let's hear a little bit from Dana Altman on men's basketball. An 83-66 win over a team in Texas Southern. I know, coach speak, whatever. This team is going to win the SWAC. This team returned 4 of 5 starters, and they have 10 guys that are either seniors or graduates. That's an experienced team for Texas Southern that's going to win a lot of basketball games. And come March, this is probably a nice resume win for the Ducks, especially because Oregon has, in the last 3 meetings between Texas Southern in the last few years, beaten the team by 6 points, and then they lost by 5 points to this team. Texas Southern's a good squad, and the Ducks looked really good against them. Tight game until about the under 4 timeout in the first half, and then the Ducks just started hitting shots. They got down to near 20% shooting there at one point and then ended up shooting 40% from the floor. Maybe took a few too many threes, but they made 33% of them, 12 of 36 from beyond the arc. Probably like to get inside a little bit more, but when you got Will Richardson scoring 20, Davion Harmon scoring 15, Jacob Young scoring 14, and then off the bench, Valdo Soares scoring 10, pretty good, huh? Quincy Guerrier battling a little bit of an ankle injury. He was 3 of 11 from the floor, but he did have 12 rebounds. Impressive for the Syracuse transfer. Eric Williams Jr., just a solid 7 and 5 performance, but 2 of 8 from the floor. I think he's going to shoot a little bit better than that over the course of his career. And then the next step is guys like Frank Kepnong, who's battling a concussion. He had 7 points, 4 rebounds in limited minutes. Would like to see him get up to speed more. Isaac Johnson, Nate Biddle. The Ducks would like to see more from their posts. But overall, I talk about that, and they had 18 offensive rebounds. Half of the Ducks' rebounds, they won the rebounding battle. Half of the Ducks' rebounds were on the offensive glass. Even Dana Altman was pretty happy with this performance. I say that jokingly because we all know that Coach Altman, especially early in the season, says phrases like, we got a long way to go. We got a lot of work to do. But listen to this postgame, and I think he was even pretty happy with the Ducks' performance.
Well, we went in, 3 things. We got to get off to
a good start this season, and I want to get the rebounding tone set. We were down 4 at half, but we came back and out-rebounded them 7 the second half. You know, if we're going to play small lineups at times, we got to do that. You know, defensively, the first half, I was really pleased with our energy. We weren't hitting shots, but our energy was good. You know, they shoot a poor percentage, and but the second half, you know, they got 40 points and shot 51%. So if there's one area I'm disappointed in, that would be it. I thought we made pretty good plays for each other. Only had 8 turnovers. Did a great job from the free throw line, 19 for 21. So some really good positives there, other than letting them shoot 51% and score 40 points defensively in that second half.
Hey, Coach, you guys talked a lot about Will Richardson's volume from 3 this offseason. Tonight he had a career high 3-point attempts halfway through the second half. What specific things were you guys doing to kind of increase that, or does that just come with playing with other guards? And how satisfied are you with the looks he's getting?
Well, you know, we took 36 tonight, which, you know, only 33%. I think percentage-wise, we're a better shooting team than that. But, you know, I thought 2 or 3 of them were a little quick, but I want them to be aggressive from 3. You know, I think, you know, especially in our small lineup, we got that floor spread, penetration kicks. You know, we got to try to get some good looks, you know, and Jacob shot at, you know, 36% last year, Davion 33. We got to get those up a little bit. Will shot at 40. Eric's capable of shooting at 40. Quincy is capable of shooting at 40. So, you know, those 5 guys that we started the game with, and then Nate Biddle can hit a few, Luke can hit a few, Waldo can hit a few. So, you know, we recruit shooters. I don't know if 36 is our number, but, you know, I want us to be aggressive from 3.
Dana, your thoughts on the 2 for 23 stretch, where on one hand you're able to weather that and hold the lead. Yeah, I thought it was a lot of clean looks, but you tell me how many you thought were contested, and then you respond by going like 50%, including I think 7 of 12 from 3 over the following like 20 or so shots.
Yeah, you know, I thought we had some really good looks there. You know, and you know, the first half we only shoot at 32%. But I thought we had some good looks and some good looks from 3. And, you know, Frank misses an easy one inside. And, you know, we had a couple, you know, right at the rim that we didn't get down and missed some 3s. So, you know, first ball game, James, you know, I didn't know what to expect. I was nervous as all get out. You know, our history with these guys, and, you know, they've got 10 seniors and grad students on their team. You know, they're a team that finished really strong. They won a game in the NCAA tournament. You know, Michigan got them by 16 in the second round, but they got 4 starters back. They had 8 guys who were on that team. The big fella from Houston, we played against him, number 44. So, you know, I was nervous, you know, and very concerned going in because we hadn't practiced as well as I'd hoped. Frank had been out for 10 days, you know, with concussion protocol. Quincy hadn't practiced because of a sprained ankle. You know, the freshmen have been freshmen. So, you know, I was really concerned going in. So I'm glad, you know, like I said, everything was positive with the exception of the 40 points and 51% in the second half that they shot.
Coach, a lot of new faces on this roster, a lot of moving pieces. How do you feel overall about how everyone kind of played together and meshed? And do you have any major takeaways on rotation that you got from tonight?
No, you know, we got a lot of work to do, you know, and you know, especially with our bigs, you know. But Dante, I hope will be back here in the next couple of weeks, and you know, he's only played 18 ball games. Frank hasn't played many ball games. Obviously, Nate and Isaac haven't played any ball games. Luke hasn't played any. You know, so we got a lot of bigs there that just need a lot of experience. And got to get a couple of them on the floor at times, you know, playing together. But defensively, they're not quite ready for that yet. Offensively, they're not quite ready for that yet. So, we're going to be a work in progress through December, but I like the depth of this team. I like the guys. I think if they become a cohesive unit defensively and offensively, that we can have a good team.
Tell you what, that sounds pretty good from Coach Altman after game one, everybody. Work in progress through December, but don't look now. They still got to get better against SMU, get the bigs up to speed, as he said, but pretty exciting for Oregon men's basketball. Nice win over Texas Southern, 83-66. But then Oregon women's basketball just said, no, we got this. 91-34. Oregon women's basketball got the win over Idaho State. Let's hear from Kelly Graves. Recap that next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey cheesy crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously, but as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Neil Armstrong waited 6 hours and 39 minutes to step onto the surface of the moon. Jackie Robinson waited 20 months to play his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And even DiCaprio had to wait 22 years to win an Oscar. You can wait until your destination. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack here in the Country Financial Studio. So Oregon men's basketball with a nice win over Texas Southern, and then in the nightcap of the doubleheader, Oregon women's basketball with a really impressive win over Idaho State. A 91-34 final. The Ducks had Niara Sabali with 14 points, Maddie Shear with 14 points, and Sedona Prince led the way with 18 points on 9 of 10 from the floor. And a whole lot of questions. Saw some in the comments earlier. What's the latest on Niara Sabali? Coach had some updates post-game. I don't have a new update for you today. Hopefully, though, everything's going to be okay. That was the vibe post-game. The Ducks, though, just impressive. 61% shooting compared to 23% shooting for Idaho State. I mean, that's just a beatdown. The Ducks were great in this matchup. Home non-conference winning streak now sits at 43 games straight. Well done for Oregon women's basketball at Matthew Knight Arena. And the Ducks held a team under 40 points in a game for the first time since December 20th of 2018 against Air Force. But get this. This is the fewest points allowed in a game by the Ducks since November 10th, 2007 against San Jose State. Spartans scored just 32 points against the Ducks in 2007. 34 points for Idaho State. Really impressive from Oregon women's basketball in their first game. Had a couple exhibitions, but now these ones count. And the Ducks were just absolutely outstanding. Rebounding battle, did a great job. They were +8 on the boards. Just impressive. And Kelly Graves, I think, was happy, though worried about Niara Sabali postgame.
Well, I was really proud of our team tonight. I thought we you guys right from the get-go. I thought defensively we were on point. And offensively, we wanted to get the ball inside early and often, and we did that early in the game. And then it just started to snowball a little bit. But I thought this was a complete game. Played both ends of the floor well tonight. So really proud of the team, especially since, we're still shorthanded. But I thought everybody executed their roles tonight very well.
Kelly, I know you heard what I said there by way of the reference to the stat and the analytic. So I'm sure your buddy Howard will probably call you up tomorrow about it. But
okay.
To put that in mind, though, truly, over 60% offensively, under 25% defensively. That's not just the best of your era here. I can't find, at least in the last 11 years of records, that's ever been done here. How did your team, shorthanded against an NCAA tournament team with experience, put together this kind of performance?
Yeah. So I was saying, I was so proud of them. I don't know. We were really locked in. We really only had one day to prepare for them too, because we, played on Saturday and took Sunday off and had yesterday to practice. So they were just on point. I thought it started with our upperclassmen, so to speak. If you can call Sedona and Niara that, I thought they just came out right from the get-go and decided, hey, we're they can't stop us inside. And so that got our offense going. But defensively, James, that's where I really thought we excelled tonight. We turned them over. We're not an in-your-face kind of defense, but we turned them over a lot. They're a rhythm team. We wanted to take them out of their rhythm. So we did that by, trapping here and there in the half court, by running that tempo press a little bit, switching between man and zone. And it just worked. I mean, Idaho State's a really good team. I mean, seriously, I'm not just saying that. That isn't coach speak. And we took them out of what they wanted to do tonight. So I hope we can just continue to improve. That's the main thing. Keep getting better and keep playing with that same kind of intensity.
Coach, to that point, defensively, another game with double-digit steals. From an outside perspective, it's hard to see where you guys can get better on that side of the ball. But as a coach, I'm sure you probably disagree. So where do you think you can actually improve defensively after tonight?
Play a consistent, defense for 40 minutes. We had some letdowns here and there. From time to time, we lost our player, we missed a switch or whatever. There are things to improve on. But we're really long, and so we get hands on a lot of balls. And I always tell them, tips lead to steals, and those kind of steals lead to fast break points. And we just kind of had it going tonight.
Coach, is there any early, findings on Niara and if she's going to be okay? And then I guess just the front court I thought was pretty tremendous. I know there's a size advantage, but just playing through both Niara and Sedona and how that was successful down a couple key guards.
Yeah, I think she's going to be okay, but given our luck in the last couple of weeks, who knows? We're kind of a triage unit to some degree here, but I think she'll be fine. She's done her ACL twice, and so sometimes when you do get a little tweak, you're a little more conservative. And I'm glad that you singled out our inside player. I thought Sedona was fantastic tonight. She was so good in the middle of the floor. She made those mid-range shots, found the people underneath the basket, and she made her share of shots around the rim. So I thought she was really important. And then Philly, plays 13 minutes, gets 10 rebounds, all on the defensive end. And I'll tell you see the talent that just kind of oozes out of her. And it's going to be fun to watch her progress, not just this year, but in years to come. I thought Kylie Watson came in. She's missed a lot of time here recently. She came in and I thought did a good job as well. So a lot of people you can point to tonight for good efforts.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win. I know that you guys were rotating some pieces tonight, obviously with Niara going out and Maddie was out for a little bit. So just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on some of the younger players like Filipina, Taylor, and then I know Shannon, the transfer she got in as well.
Yeah, I thought Taylor played a really good game. She hasn't practiced a whole lot. And, she showed some real aggressiveness tonight. I think she's just got to continue to be confident in herself and her game. But, boy, I really liked what I saw out of Taylor tonight. So good on her. Shannon, Shannon is a sixth year. She's a vet. She's JJ Redick, man. She's, been around a while and shoots the ball well, and she can really give us that. So I was glad to see her make a couple of baskets. I'm not sure exactly who else you had talked about. Maddie Shear, I love her, man. She's such a gamer, and I'm glad she only had to play 22 minutes tonight because we're going to ask a lot of her here in the future until those guards get back. But, she got into trouble a little bit just because she was so unselfish. She got in the paint with nowhere to go and had a few turnovers. But I thought she had a great game overall, to be honest with you. And Elise Hurst, I thought really, honestly, you guys, I'm really pleased. I thought a lot of players really played well. I know I've said that 100 times, but make it 101.
Kind of following on Maddie, Kelly, I'm sure since I wasn't in San Antonio, so I tried to watch as much as I could many months ago, but seeing the in-game interaction that you were having with her throughout, when teams at the foul line, those sorts of things, how much further along or advanced is that conversation now compared to any conversations you had like that what we're at now, 8 months ago?
Yeah, night and day. I mean, she's such a cerebral player. And I was asking her, what she wanted to run. What do you think we should do this next time down? And actually told her a couple of things to tell her teammates. Now that's I really trust her. She's become a great leader, and I love her floor game. And I see she's one of those players that's just sneaky good. She's not gonna wow you with a ton of stats on most nights. She's just gonna be good at everything and plays both ends of the floor. She's come a long way. I think just confidence-wise.
Coach, as you heard, Sedona had some glowing remarks about Philly. I'm curious if you could just assess how you thought she played tonight.
Well, like I said before, I mean, we're gonna. I think hopefully everybody's just gonna really enjoy watching her progress as a player. She didn't even play last year, and to just see her from the day she got here to what she's doing now, just things like when teams run ball screens and she's defending the screener. She is so good. She talks, she keeps the player in front of her. She helps at the right time. She plays the screen correctly. She's really got quite a knack for really the fundamentals of the game and thinks the game. I love her that way. And you guys, she has got great hands, and she gets a rebound near her, she's going to get it. 10 defensive rebounds in 13 minutes. That doesn't happen very often. James, you were talking analytics before. That might be one to look at. That's a lot of rebounds in a short period of time. None at the offensive end. So, yeah, I'm really happy for her. We're deep inside, you guys.
Good stuff from Kelly Graves. I think a great start. Oregon women's basketball will be back in action on Sunday, with Oregon men's basketball back in action on Friday. SMU, the opponent for Oregon men's basketball, 8 o'clock on Friday, 7:30 pregame here with myself on the Oregon Sports Network, and then Terry Johns and Bev Smith back with you for Dixie State in town, 4:30 pregame, 5 o'clock tip on Sunday. Up next, we're going to hear from Joe Moorhead. I said we'd get to it yesterday. We didn't. My bad. We're going to get to it next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, football is back! So consider this your official excuse for always putting football watching first, courtesy of Pepsi. That haircut appointment? Seeing the in-laws for the first time in ages.
It's been so long!
Nope, sorry Susan, not if it's on Sunday. Long story short, after the year we've all had, we think you could use a little football watching. So crack open a Pepsi and cheer your football watching face off. With love, Pepsi. Made for football watching. That's what I like.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s, like go back to college, learn to skateboard. Whoa. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. At aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a free 3-minute chat with the friendly digital retirement coach, Avo, and receive personalized tips to help boost your savings. Start chatting with Avo today at aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse? Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam! Ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back on Nugget Side, represented by On Point Community Credit Union. We heard a little bit from offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead earlier, and we're now going to zero in on what it was like having Alex Forsyth back and just how big of a deal that is. Continuing some of the comments this week from Coach Moorhead previewing WSU.
It's just your impressions of Alex and Forsyth and his return and how important and valuable. Obviously, he's going to be whenever he's on the field, but especially when Ryan goes down. And it sounds like he's not out for the year, but just seems like Alex's timing in the return is pretty significant.
Yeah, to have him available. I mean, he's, the eyes, the ears, the brains, the heart and soul of our offensive line from that center position. Incredible leader, great competitor, awesome teammate. Had been playing well the entire year up until the injury. And, for him to be able to go in back to his natural position when Ryan gets hurt. And, anytime you rush the ball 56 times for close to 350 yards, those big guys up front are doing their job. But Alex Forsyth is an invaluable piece of the offensive line, this offense, and really the team as a whole.
Joe, DJ Johnson provides a ton as terms of setting the edge for you guys in the run game at that position. Just to speak to just what he does uniquely compared to some of the younger tight ends. Learning the blocking roles and responsibilities is always a bit of a challenge at tight end, but he clearly provides for you a lot there. Can you speak to just how well he's been doing in that capacity?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about an unselfish guy who comes in, if I recall correctly, I wasn't here, but came in as a defensive end, right, and then moved to tight end by necessity, and it really fits his skill set. And then this year, because of injury, is asked to play both, which he's done very well. But DJ is when you talk about the tight end world, he's a traditional Y. A guy that could get on the line of scrimmage and be singled up against a 7 technique or a 9 technique and get movement at the point of attack. He's great on combinations, great on down blocks, carries a lot of experience and maturity.
How about that, man? Good comments on DJ Johnson from Joe Moorhead. Carrying a lot of maturity, you got to have that. Be able to play two ways the way that DJ Johnson has. Coming up tomorrow, we're going to talk with the voice of the Cougs, Matt Chazanow, and a ton of interviews from Oregon football. It's been great that we have a lot of basketball to talk about. That means tomorrow, all aboard the football preview train. We've got a ton of interviews from after practice for you tomorrow, and we will see you then.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running?
That's not a faucet.